What is up, y'all? Hi. I get a lot of questions about my CCCA and my journey. We'll talk about that in a second. My hair growth and all of that since I started opening up about it on my channel a few years ago. So I wanted to put all of my journey, all of my knowledge about it, all the treatments I've done, everything into one video so it's easier to find because it's kind of spread out over multiple videos over multiple years. So this is all about my CCCA journey, and we're gonna do my makeup while we chit chat about it. First, we're going to start with sunscreen. So my hair started thinning in 2014, and it wasn't necessarily like a bald spot, but it was really more like I noticed that once I started wearing my hair curly, I could see a very distinct thinning spot. Yes, that's literally 10 years ago. I've been struggling with it for that long. I was having some issues with my hormones at the time that I didn't realize were actually affecting my hair. All the doctors I went to at the time told me that it was heavily a stress thing, like your stress is causing a buildup of cortisol and it's going to result in a like cortisol spot, which is going to make your hair fall out, and that's essentially what I believe was happening. So for many years I thought that was just the case, and I just had to keep myself under like my stress levels under control, which is something I struggled with because I also have anxiety. So over the first 3 to 4 years, my hair was up and down. It would grow back sometimes and then it wouldn't, and then it would fall back out, and it was just something I kind of lived with. Yeah, so I just kind of dealt with it. And then COVID hit, and once COVID hit, I really was kind of stuck with my hair, and I wore it natural the majority of COVID, and I wore it in protective styles. I did my own braids, I did wigs, or puffs, curls, I did the whole thing. And I really just focused on protective styles. And I found the spot filled out a lot during this time, but it was like short. So it was probably like an inch off of my head at the time, which was annoying. Because it was hard to wear my hair curly when I had like a huge gap that I always talk about in the back of my head. And like, that's why I kind of stuck with the protective styles, just leaving it alone because they hid that gap. But it ended up being so damaged because I did end up neglecting it in that time. So while I was in the protective styles, was I conditioning it? Was I like providing the right products to it? Was I detangling it correctly? No, and no. In 2021, I chopped it all off. I got a bob, which was really cute. That was one of my like favorite little hairstyles. I got some color done, some very subtle color, and yeah, my spot was less noticeable because my hair was shorter. The spot started to grow back a little bit. I took it upon myself to finally go see a dermatologist. So I went in there, she looked at my scalp, I told her about basically everything I just told you, showed her pictures, and she told me that she thinks I have a form of alopecia. She didn't know what kind it was. She was like, do you wear tight styles all the time? Do you blah, blah, blah? And I was like, no, I actually don't. And I hadn't been for a while. I don't put a lot of heat on my hair. Like if I do put heat on it, I put it a max of twice a month, like max. I don't go back and straighten it and keep up with it every day. Obviously this is a wig, so like this is different, but like my actual hair, I don't. In Vlogmas Day 7, I talked about how she was like, okay, we're gonna figure out exactly what this is and we're gonna do a biopsy. So she literally took like a piece of my skin and scalp and sent it in, and I had to get stitches and I had to leave it for a while. And essentially the results came back and I was positive, or I guess I was diagnosed officially with CCCA, which is a form of alopecia due to scarring of the hair follicle. Basically, there's a lot of inflammation in my scalp, which can be due to stress, cortisol. It can be issues with your immune system, or it could just, there's a lot of reasons it could happen, but it basically swells up and inflames around your hair follicle and like destroys the hair follicle, so hair is not able to grow. Luckily for me, there was just damage to the hair follicle because there was still hair there. I wasn't completely bald in that area, so I had like an opportunity to grow some of the hair back, but in some instances that's not always true. So I was happy about that, but I was still very like worried about it. In January, I started scalp injections, which are tiny little needles, and you inject steroids. I can't remember the actual name. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. into my scalp, just in that area. I did that for once a month for 8 months, and that was to help with the inflammation so that I didn't have, you know, a lot more inflammation later, and then also to help like prevent it from spreading anywhere else. I also started another treatment called clobetasol, which I actually have right here. You've probably seen this or a variation of it in a bunch of my videos, but essentially it is a topical treatment that I was putting on in between twice a week, just to make sure that, you know, like as a preventative measure. It was hopes that like we could at least get the hair that's there to grow back and to prevent the scarring from spreading anywhere else on my head. I'll talk about the pain of the scalp injections real quick. They do hurt. They're not comfortable. It's kind of like, the pain is worse than when you get your eyebrows done, but you know how in some areas it hurts more than others? It definitely hurts more like closer to my spot is back here. So closer down to my ear it hurt than like further to the middle of my head. But, you know, it didn't last very long. And yeah, so after that I did see results. I did see my hair growing back very, very slowly, and the hair itself was extremely fragile. So like, I have a very bad habit of picking at my hair. I picked at it for way too long. I still do it sometimes, and I'm really trying to work on not doing it, but that hair was fragile, and like me picking on my hair was just going to lead to it falling out, and that's kind of what it did. And like eventually I went back to doing some protective styles, which I also could not keep in for very long. So like braids, you can't keep in really for more than 4 to 5 weeks, just because you don't want that to fall off, that hair to fall out, and it's too much traction. I have to tell the lady who braids my hair to put less hair on that section, just so I don't have any issues with that. Finally did start seeing my progress. She said, okay, we're gonna stop the scalp injection, see how it goes, and then I'm gonna prescribe you a topical treatment. So she gave me Rogaine, and Rogaine helped me a lot. I use that every single day for 4.5 months. It does take a while to start, you know, working, but I used that and my hair grew back so thick, and it was the longest it had ever been, like since I started having problems, and I really got a lot of hope. Unfortunately, I can't stay consistent to save my life, and that was a big issue. It sucks, but when you start straightening your hair, the Rogaine like makes your hair frizz back up. You can't do protective styles for too long. I can wear my hair curly because of like where the spot is. It makes my hair look very uneven. And yeah, so I really struggled with being able to use that every day afterwards, but I was really happy I did, and I actually have been lately getting back into it because, as you know, 2024 is all about natural, like growing back, getting the health of my hair back. So now I'll get into the things that I've been doing that actually have been working. So I'll start with that Rogaine Women's Foam. It's actually right here. I've been using this every single day in that spot. I have been keeping up with my dermatologist, so like whenever I notice a change, I go in, we talk about it. I don't delay it anymore like I did in the beginning. I definitely think that's important. The earlier you catch it, the better. I also did the scalp treatments, but I also do scalp massages with my red light therapy, which I did a video on, vitamin D, Nutrafol, lots of water. Sweating and working out, getting my cortisol release in definitely helps a lot. And then last but not least, obviously just praying about it. Just try not to think about it, try not to play in my hair as much, and just praying about it, letting God handle it. While I do my little work down here, he can handle it up there, from everywhere. Yeah, that's just kind of the vibe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I'm working on. Lots of water. Just trying to be, the main thing is really consistency. Just trying to be as consistent as I can. So I'm really trying to just oil treatments in the morning, Rogaine at night, scalp massage with my light therapy every day, vitamin C every day, Nutrafol every day, leaving it alone, low manipulation, all of that. So if you have any questions about CCCA, please let me know. Leave a comment down below and I'll check back.